You're listening to the Wired for Impact podcast. I'm here today with Orvel Douglas. How are you doing, Orvel?
I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic. I'm really looking forward to getting into your world. I love meeting people who are very passionate about their mission in life, especially when it's ones that I don't have a lot of experience or expertise in. And a fruitarian certainly checks that box in my life because I don't know. I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it. So first and foremost, thank you and welcome to the call.
Thank you for having me.
So you are a certified nutritionist and fruitarian. For those, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but for those that don't know what a fruitarian is, let's define that real quick so people are on the same page.
Yeah, a fruitarian is a person who primarily eats fruits. Usually they say around like 70% fruits. Their diet's usually all raw, nothing cooked. And most fruitarians may have like greens, nuts and seeds in their diet. For me, I very rarely have any of those in the diet, maybe once every now and then. So I'm not more like 99% fruit. But the definition of fruitarian is basically a person that eats 70% of fruits.
Gotcha. I think the only fruitarian that I have heard of is actually, I believe Steve Jobs was on a fruitarian diet or played with that diet for a while. Now, you live this life, correctly? This is your...
Right, that's correct. Yeah.
A lot of people, I think, use it perhaps as a detox or as like a deviation from what they would normally do. Do you work with people who use it as a detox, or is your main mission essentially to get people on a fruitarian diet across the board?
No, it's not. My mission is to get people to detox, because a lot of people need to detox. I mean, after that, if they want to continue, that's great. But it's like, I have people from all different dietary backgrounds who have a lot of illnesses, sicknesses, so basically I help them in that way. And then once they go back to their not to say their regular diet, I kind of help them to transition back to more of a healthier diet to, instead of detox or retox, because you don't retox your body. And that's what I do.
Gotcha. So before we get into exactly how you do that with your clients, how did you get into this in the first place? I started to read your story on your site, and I guess you were out of shape and not feeling the greatest. How did you get into fruitarian? Why fruitarian?
Well, fruitarian wasn't something that I planned, so I followed the vegan diet for 26 years. And the reason I went over to that, because when I first moved to the United States, I'm from the UK. When I first moved to the United States, I gained weight and I didn't really like the way I looked. And, I was always a slim person. So I decided I'm going to read a lot of nutrition books and, like exercise. So the books that I read about all different types of exercise, all different types of nutrition, but the vegan diet kind of more resonated with me. So I said, I'm just going to give that a go. So I did that, and I did that for many years. And then from a vegan diet, I went to a raw vegan diet, which is still vegan, but, nothing is cooked. I joined, I said, what's a raw vegan diet? Because I see this group on Facebook. I joined these groups, and it's basically, they have ways of preparing food without cooking it to take out the nutrients out of it, maybe dehydration, under a certain temperature. And I got interested in that, and it was really good. But the thing is, it was just so much work, like if you're making, say, for instance, crackers, like say, maybe some crackers, some health crackers from flaxseed or whatever, you'd have to mix the stuff up and put it in dehydrate and dehydrate for like 20 hours or whatever, a really long time. I mean, it tastes good, but it was a long time. But I just wanted something more simple. Then I found that I was starting to end up eating fruits. It was just something that I just started to do. I didn't plan to become a fruitarian. At that time, I didn't really know what a fruitarian was. I just kept eating fruits and eating fruits. And then I would post on Facebook, and a lot of people were really interested in what I was doing, because I'll be showing that I'm, showing exercise. I'm exercising. So that's why you eat fruits, and you're able to have that kind of energy. I said, yeah, that's why I eat fruits. I said, I can't believe it. So I said, something, let me create a group. And this is what I did. I created a group about 7 years ago on Facebook, and it was about for people to join the group to experience what I live, just try it for yourself for like 30 days. That's what I did. The very first group I did, I've been doing this group for the past 7 years, and it's every other month. The very first group I did after the 30 days was over, even if some of the people didn't make it for 30 days because it is new to them, and sometimes people gave into their craving, I was getting all these messages from people. Oh, my diabetes disappeared. My high blood pressure disappeared. I've done all these reversible different types of diseases. And every single one I did, all the challenges I did every other month, it was more and more and more and more. and I've documented it. So now, I mean, this is like 7 years in now, but people reverse cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, type 1, type 2, lose a lot of weight if they have excess weight to lose, kidney disease. I've had people reverse stuff that doctors told them they couldn't be reversed. But I tell people in the group, I'm not a doctor and I don't promise cures, but this is the stuff that's been happening in the group. So the only thing you can do if you want to really experience this is join the group. While you're in the group, if you're under any medication from any doctor, stay on your medication. Don't stop taking it. Keep on taking it. If the doctor, after you've done, if the doctor decides to take you off, then they'll do that. And that's exactly what happened to a lot of the participants. They got taken off their medication at the end of it.
Yeah, it's fascinating looking at your Instagram reel because you literally have people who have been cleared of cancer, who have, like you mentioned, the diabetes, et cetera, which is the reason why I'm so fascinated by this life choice. I mentioned Steve Jobs earlier. You might have heard that Ashton Kutcher, the actor, played him in the movie that portrayed his life. And so he took on a fruitarian diet as part of his, and apparently it didn't go very well. So I imagine that there's a way that you can do this intelligently, effectively, and that there's a way that you maybe not. So walk us through what's the right way to do a fruitarian diet.
I always tell people, if you're going to go on the fruitarian diet, always go under expert guidance, because a lot of people do not go under that. Regarding Steve Jobs wasn't even a fruitarian. He ate fruit, but he was a vegan, but he was a junk food vegan, and he was going back and forth with different type of diets. But he did incorporate part of his diet, but he was no fruitarian from a whole stretch. But the thing is, he died of pancreatic cancer, but with him, even though he's a junk food vegan and the diet he was eating, not saying everything was bad that he was eating in his diet, he lived, I think, 8 to 16 times more longer than anybody else who had like conventional treatments and stuff like that. Regarding Ashton Kutcher, detox symptoms can be from mild to heavy. And this is one thing in the group, where I have the group with people in the group, I explain this to them that, your body, sometimes you can go for a serious detox. And a lot of times it could be if you've been on medicated, if you've been on drugs, medications or stuff like that. These are usually what causes the worst detox symptom, because basically I tell people what heals the body. It's not the fruits that heal the body. It's the body that heals itself. What fruits do, it puts the body in the environment to heal, because the only way the body can heal is when it's at rest. So saying all that, fruits is one of the only foods that digest very, very quickly. Within 30 minutes or so, you're eating a high-water fruit, it will digest. That means your body's going back to healing. Just like when you're sleeping, your body usually starts to heal when you're sleeping. So you're going throughout the day, you're eating fruit, and then after 30 minutes, you go back to detoxification. So you're always detoxing, and it could be very, very hard and heavy, especially when the body's trying to detox. It's going to lift that a lot of those heavy stuff within the fatty tissues and the body. Just like anyone who's on drugs, when they go into detox symptoms, they may get the shakes or whatever, they go for a really bad patch. But this is part of it. That's not going to happen to everybody, but this is in the worst cases if someone been on drugs or medication. And I think this is what happened to Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, interesting. It sounded like he also he had heard that Steve was eating or drinking a lot of carrot juice, and it sounded like Ashton just drank a ton of carrot juice. So that's why I was thinking there's probably a wrong way to do a fruitarian diet if you just focus on only one fruit or vegetable, et cetera. Is there a balanced way? How do you get people started on a fruitarian diet? What's the overall guidance that you give them?
Well, the overall guidance is just, my program is simple, just eating fruits. When you're hungry, just eat the fruits that you like. At the high water, it doesn't matter, just eat when you're hungry, whatever they are, apples, oranges, pineapples. It's just a simple program. When we talk about balance, you can't eat just like one fruit. If you just feel like you just want to eat one fruit all the time, you can't. I do, because I just eat once a day, and I just eat, usually when I eat, it's just like one type of fruit, because not because of anything. It's just that I prefer eating one type. That I'm not really a fan of fruit salads. I like mixed fruits in smoothies, but for me personally, I just like to eat one fruit, but people can eat whatever they want. It's all about them making that choice how they want to eat it, but it's all about just eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're satiated. If you need to eat 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, 10 times a day, it doesn't matter. But you have to learn the triggers. Are you really hungry when you're about to eat? Because a lot of people are not really hungry. They just eat for the sake of eating because they think they have to eat. They've been programmed to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And, you know, your body gets used to a clock. If you've been following a certain clock for all your life, at dinner time, you got to think you're hungry because your stomach may be growling or whatever, but it's just a habit that needs to be broken.
Mm-hmm. So you'll eat, you said only one fruit a day. Do you change from day to day, or are you eating the same fruit for weeks at a time?
Sometimes it's weeks at a time. You know, usually I just usually like from day to day, but, you know, but I mean, I think it was in February, because I wanted to prove a point to a lot of people. A lot of people saying, "Ah, you can't do that. You got to be deficient, blah, blah, blah." So in February this year, I just ate grapes from February all the way to Memorial Weekend. Just right after my birthday, which was February the 5th, all the way to Memorial Weekend. I just ate
a lot of grapes.
And then so when I just showed them, well, this is it, you know?
That's incredible. And for those that are just listening to this and they're not watching this on video, I mean, you look incredible. You're if you don't mind me sharing your age.
No, share, please do.
You're close to 60 years old. You look like
yes.
You're half, if not younger than half of that. I mean, you could easily pass for a man that's in his 30s, especially if you threw a hat on because you got a bald head. But outside of that,
right, thank you.
You look fantastic, man. And I'm very curious too, just the other bodily effects of the fruitarian diet. So it's not just the detox, but I imagine that your joints feel better. You obviously lost weight. You're in very good shape. Yeah. So can you explain some of the other benefits to the diet as well?
Yeah, well, you know, for me, I've been doing it for so long. You know, I mean, I started early with vegan diet and fruitarian for the last 11 years. And what I found, I've never had any health issues to reverse or had any health issues at the beginning. It's just that I gained weight. But for me, it was more about prevention and cure because I'm a thinker. And when I was younger, like say like 10, 11 years old, and you'll see your parents and they may be like 30 or something. And then by the time they reach 40, they're getting sick of some kind of medication or blah, blah, blah. I'm sure you know, family members, you know, yep. And I just thought to myself, that will be my destination. If it's happening to everybody around me, when I get to a certain age, that's going to happen to me. So that's why when I research vegan diet, and that's the one that more resonated towards me. And, you know, I have daughter and grandkids. I have a daughter, she's almost 40, granddaughter 21, and a grandson 4 years old, almost 4 years old. And I just said to myself, I didn't want to be one of those grandfathers who cannot do anything, just sit around, you know, the kids are running around and, you know, I cannot go on vacation, enjoy myself. I didn't want to be like that. Seems more prevention and cure. So now being almost 60 years old and doing a vegan diet for 26, 27 years, now I'm reaping the benefits because I'm still feel the same as when I was back then. And a lot of the people I went to school with and all my friends have a lot of health issues. And for me, I have zero. No medication, no headaches, you know, so that keeps you to, you know, once you feel good, you try and stick to it.
That's fantastic, man. It's unbelievable. So if I'm hearing you correctly, it's really a fruit of choice, or eat as much fruit as you want. Vegetables too? Yeah. You're eating vegetables?
Well, I don't have vegetables in my diet because of fruitarian, but, you know, if, you know, people can have vegetables. It's not going to do anything to them, you know, but I just don't like vegetables for the simple fact. I like to eat things in its raw state and natural. A lot of time people are not going to eat vegetables only if they slather it with some kind of their favorite dressing and stuff like that, you know, because a lot of those vegetables are kind of like bland or bitter. You know, with fruits, you can get any sweet fruits and you don't have to add anything to like a mango or watermelons or cherries. You know, it's got a sweet taste. So for me, it's all about simplicity.
I could probably go mangoes. Those are so freaking good. Ripe mangoes maybe the best fruit. Mangoes. It's so good.
Yes, indeed.
Have you ever seen a fruit under a microscope, by the way?
No, I haven't actually.
I came across an Instagram account and this guy was taking pictures, like microscopic pictures of fruit. I have to find it and send it to you because it's almost an epiphany just looking at it because you're going, wait, that's going in my body? It literally looks like bioluminescent brilliance. And then you look at you know, a processed food and it just
yeah, like I know what you're talking about. I know exactly. There's some kind of camera. I think it's called kilos. I can't remember, but he catches the aura of the fruit, of the food. So you can see the light around it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So now when I take a bite of fruit, I'm just like, all that goodness is going to me, you know?
You know, a lot of people say, oh, fruits are dangerous from eating the sugar. I think, you know, this is something that was produced on the planet. It's a natural food for us to eat, you know, so
Yeah.
it shouldn't cause you any harm and stuff like that. But a lot of time people get cause harm in their body because not from the fruit. The fruit may have a reaction in their body, but it's not because of that. It's because all the other stuff. All the other stuff needs to be detoxed out of the body so the body can assimilate in its correct way.
Yes, I've noticed that. I was just going to ask you what people can expect when they go on to a fruitarian diet. I did a juicing fast a while ago. It was the first time I ever did it. And the first thing I dealt with is massive headache. And the dumb me was like, oh, the vegetable juices is causing this headache. It's like, no, you're detoxing all the toxins. So what should people expect when they go on to a fruitarian diet so that mentally they can prepare for it?
Well, I did say that's one of the more common symptoms. Headaches. You know, the usual symptoms are usually mild. You know, headache, or maybe you have a symptom of a cold or the flu, or you know, sometimes in some worst cases people vomit. It depends on. It really depends on the individual. You know, it depends on how much toxins got to be released. But in some people, it may not happen at the beginning. But as time goes on, as the detox continues to dig deeper and deeper, it may happen later on. It's very hard to say, but what you said about the headaches, the mucus coming out of your nose, maybe a skin rash, maybe, you know, because the skin is like the biggest elimination organ. So it's eliminating the toxins out of the system. Sometimes you may get gum pain, not because the fruits are doing anything to your teeth. The gums are an exit for toxins as well, but all those things usually disappear.
Let's talk a little bit about the current food industry right now and a lot of the harm that's in it. I think that's one of the reasons why people are dealing with so much illness and disease is because there's so much crap in our foods, even fruit. I've seen reports where they've shown, just the pesticides on fruit, even organic fruit. They did a study and they juiced a organic strawberry and there was more. I think this came from Gary Brecka, if you know who that is. He's a health guy. He was saying that there was more pesticides in the organic strawberry juice that they could then use to respray the fruit again from the organic juice itself. It was like, well, if we can't go to organic fruit, where can we go? What kind of fruit do you recommend? How do you find the fruit?
I recommend organic fruits. And what I've learned from what I've seen from observation, you know, and they got, you know, they have fruits like strawberries, which have very thin skin, grapes are thin skin, apples are thin skin. So those are type of fruits. If people, you know, if they want to eat them a lot, then I'll say, you know, buy organic. But they have like a lot of thick skin fruits like kiwi, melons, and stuff like that, where you may have the least amount of pesticides. But what I've also noticed is that in my group where people reverse diseases, a lot of people cannot afford organic. You know, they cannot afford organic and they just eat the conventional fruit. But at the same time, they still reverse their diseases. So a lot of times I listen to everything what people are saying, but I also go by observation. I prefer to buy organic fruits, but this is what happened to a lot of people in the group. They wasn't buying organic fruits, but they still were able to reverse their diseases and stuff like that. So yeah, but I always say all we can do is the best we can do while, you know, because we don't really have any control. If you can grow your own food, that's fantastic. You know, we live in a world, like reducing your toxicity in your body. Like, certainly if you're not eating all these processed foods and stuff like that, you're having food with maybe like some pesticides and stuff like that, I don't think it's going to be so harmful because that's all you're doing. You know, you're not adding to all the other bad stuff you're doing. So that's kind of where I kind of look at it in a sense.
Do you recommend treating the fruit before you eat it at all, but scrubbing it or washing it or anything like that?
Well, personally, what I do, I only rinse my fruit. I just get some distilled water, put it in a bowl to soak, and then I take it. I don't use anything else. A lot of people like to use like vinegars and baking soda. But I just thought you dipping your fruit in vinegar. Number one, vinegar is acidic anyway, and it changes the taste. It changes the taste of the fruit. I mean, we don't want to have our fruit squeaky clean them, but not squeaky clean, because you need that for your immune system. And that's why I think a lot of people are lacking in a lot of, vitamins and stuff like that and minerals, because everything must be squeaky clean, you know?
Yeah. So you mentioned on your Instagram, if I can put you on the spot a little bit, maybe this is going too deep, but there's an acronym called SPARES that talks about the cellular absorption of the nutrients and whatnot. Can you explain what that is?
You were just talking about space. It was just like separation of cells, protection of cells, absorption, so you absorbing, regulation, excretion, excreting stuff because the cells excrete. Every single time you eat something, your cells take a poop. It's a cellular waste. It's either, they call it either an acidic ash or an alkaline ash. And it depends on what type of food you're eating. So acidic food is not good. An acidic food, it excretes an ash, which is an acidic ash. And what that ash does, it goes into the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is a sewer system of the body, and that's where all the toxins are sent to, and it expelled out of the body. But the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump like the heart. It's kind of, it's a system where toxins will just stay stagnant within that lymphatic system. So if you're eating a bad diet, the lymphatic system is going to become murky and dirty, and it's not moving. It's just basically that way disease is going to start building up from. Now, the alkaline ash is full of oxygen. So the fruit you're eating is got a lot of oxygen in there. That keeps the lymphatic system moving. Also, in combination with exercising, people do like running, sprinting, or jumping on those trampolines and stuff like that. All that keeps your lymphatic system moving. It's all oxygenated, and it's keeping your lymphatic system clean. Now, going back to the dirty part of the lymphatic system, it's like having a fish bowl with a dirty fish bowl with a fish in that bowl, and the fish is just like sick. And you wonder, what's making the fish sick? The water is dirty. So do we vaccinate the fish or do we treat the fish and give it some medication? No. What you have to do, you have to throw that water out and put the fish in a fresh bowl of water. That's exactly how the body is.
That's such a great analogy because so often we're trying to treat the fish. And
you're trying to treat it.
It's the environment that the fish is in that needs to be treated, not the fish itself. The fish is dealing with the symptoms of the environment. So treating the fish is not actually treating the issue. I was fascinated. I've seen some studies where they look at blood under a microscope, and people who have acidic environments, the red blood cells get sludgy. They kind of merge into each other. And it's like, you look at it and you go, and then the person says, I feel sluggish. And you look at the blood and you go, the blood is sluggish. And then the person takes, an alkaline. I can't remember. I think this was when I was green juicing. So I think it was after green juice. And the blood red cells became very defined. They bounced off each other and they were flowing. And then you ask the person, how do you feel now? Oh, I feel energized. I feel like I'm in flow.
Right.
It's like you're literally describing on a microscopic level what's happening inside your body. I would imagine on a fruitarian diet, that's what you're saying is like your red blood cells are going to be able to carry more oxygen to the rest of your body, which gives it needs to perform.
I always tell people, if you know that you're eating well and you do what when you have energy, if you can bounce around and do this and do that, that's it.
Ultimately, if you have the results, then
you have the results,
Yes. Can you walk us through what the 30-day fruit challenge entails? How much is it? And what do people need to do to prepare, if anything? Like, give us walk us through the 30-day challenge.
Okay, so the 30-day challenge, it's $20 to join. And the preparation is just basically preparing your mind. A lot of people say, well, should I go to a lighter diet or, maybe salads or stuff like that? I said, you can, but you don't have to, because even if you do that, if your mind is not prepared, you're not going to get through it. If you prepare your mind mentally, you say, okay, I'm going to be eating whatever I want to eat up until the day I start. Then if you have that focus, you're good to go. The 30-day challenge, everybody in the group, at the beginning of the group, I start to explain. I have a list of the things that you cannot have. There's no juicing, there's no greens, there's no herbs, there's no nuts, there's no seeds. And a lot of people ask me the reasons why. In the group, I explain the logic, the reasons why you cannot have this while you're doing this, and it's an intense group. It's like a masterclass group. I give a load of information. I don't do any live videos in the group because I have people from all over the world in the group. So I make pre-recorded video in the morning and people can come in the group. It's a secret group and it's only held on Facebook. People can come in the group at any time and see everything that I posted within a day. the videos and my posts are always in a featured section, so you never can miss anything. Everybody in the group is basically encouraging each other. They're asking their questions. If there's a question that I think will benefit the whole group, then I'll do a video on it and I'll tag everybody in the group so that this is something, an important point. Please listen to this. That's what I'll do. I answer every question that is asked. I answer the question. I also have an ebook as well. And I ask people to purchase that ebook as well within the challenge, because ebook is like the Bible to the challenge. Mm-hmm. If you really want to pick my brain, the ebook will tell you. So get the ebook before the challenge, during the challenge, and after the challenge, because once the challenge is over, all that information that I've shared, which is everything, probably 3 or 4 posts a day and maybe videos, and it's a lot of information, all that will be deleted. So at least you'll have everything on hand with you, and the ebook will make it more easier for you. But that's basically if people post their food, if they want to, post their food. If a person feels like they want to give up, I ask them, post it in the group. We'll try and talk you out of it, and try and give you, just say, well, listen, it's only 30 days, just take one day at a time. Yeah, your favorite food is there, but it's not going to kill you. Yeah, the cravings are very strong. I totally understand that, but you got to have some control. You have to think of the reason. You have to think of the reason, your why you joined this challenge. Always think about that, your why. If you're suffering from some serious illness, think about your why. And just, after 30 days, you can go back to what you've been eating. Hopefully not, but we can modify your diet, but you can have it in moderation. Mm-hmm. So basically, that's what the fruit challenge is about.
I love that you bring a mindset into this. Obviously, that's so key. That's integral to making a big shift like this, especially when you hit those cravings. What's like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4? I would imagine that the stuff that I've done, actually about earlier this summer, I did a carnivore diet and just literally only meats. And it was wild to face, the cravings there, because previous to that, I would have thought, hey, if I could have steak anytime I wanted to, like I'm good, right? But there was other cravings. It was really interesting to see, and I had to get through that. It was like about a week in, you kind of have, they call it the keto flu, and same kind of thing, I think, with the detox of
right.
But then there was those cravings. But then literally after that, it was like your whole palate changed, the whole environment changed. Your body's getting what it needs, and so you really don't have the cravings anymore. And just knowing that was so helpful for me, because it was like, okay, I'm just in a phase. Like, you just got to get through that day. Is it a similar thing for Fruitarian too?
Yeah, same thing. Everything becomes a distant memory as time goes on. As you say, your palate changes, everything comes in distant memory. If your person, you add salt or whatever to your food, by the end of it, when you have something with salt, maybe even just a little salt, you guys are like, oh my God. Or if something with it like added sugar, it's got that is too sweet.
Yes.
And what amazes me, sometimes I see people, they're making tea or coffee, and I just see they don't put packs of sugar in after like the sugar thing, and they're just pouring it. And I'm just saying to myself, wow. I mean, like, how? I mean, that tells me they've lost a whole sense of, everything. The whole taste is gone.
Yeah, you really have to recalibrate. I've gone through that before, and it's been mind blowing. And you have to experience it, and I think that's why you say, look, after the 30 days, if you want to go back to your other diet, go for it. But the chances are, after you go through those 30 days, if you literally stuck with it, you transform. You become something else, because when you go back to that old diet, I've done detoxes and diets, and I'll more or less go back to what I was eating before, and you can taste the chemicals in the food.
Right. Absolutely.
The sweetness of soda is overwhelming. It's like, oh, get that stuff away. You really recalibrate to, an earth-given diet, which is probably where we should be in the first place.
Yeah, because a lot of people always come back. They'll always come back. The group is always every other month. So when they go back that month off, when I'm not, doing it, then they just like, even though a lot of them have really transformed their diet, some of them go back, but a lot of them come back, they should, oh, I can't believe, how I'm coming back, because the fruits made me so much. I mean, even I'm eating healthy, but the fruits made me feel so much better, so much lighter. A lot of them come back. I mean, I have a lot of people sign up for the year. They'll sign up for the whole year. I have 6 challenges a year. They sign up for the whole year because they like that feeling. And I always say, it's a journey. It's not a destination, so just take your time. You do 1 month, and then the month off, try not to go back to your regular. If you're sleeping, every now and then, that's fine. But go back to what you're doing. Then if you want to come back, to go back to fruit. So that's how you become healthy and healthier, because you're not putting all bad food back in your body.
Gotcha. You mentioned earlier about not juicing and doing some canceling out some other drinks. Are there certain, are you just only drinking water, or do you allow yourself to drink tea? Probably not coffee because that's acidic, but
right. Well, actually, believe it or not, I don't even drink water. I eat my water, because the fruits that I eat. Yeah, the fruits.
You don't even drink water. Wow.
Yeah. The only time I use water, and don't get me wrong, this is not intentional. It's unintentional. Because a lot of people say, why, you do this. I said, for me, the way I live, I don't do anything intentional. It's always unintentional. And because of that, the fruits that I eat, it keeps me hydrated on a cellular level. If you're eating a lot of fruits, you're still peeing. You're still peeing. Water in the group. Yeah, people must drink water. I have distilled water as one of the rules, to drink distilled water or coconut water, no juicy, because if you're coming from a dehydrated diet, you're still got to be dehydrated. Now, what I found in the group is that a lot of people send me a message, worried. I'm really worried because, I've been on this for about a week now, and I'm not really thirsty. I'm not really drinking any water, but I'm eating my fruits, and I'm really worried because I'm beginning, so normally eating drinking 6 glasses a day. And I said, that's normal. A lot of people who follow the Fruitarian diet, they'll say the same thing, that if you're just eating fruits only, you won't get thirsty. What I found is that if I go to like a raw vegan diet, raw vegan food, it's a raw vegan food, they eat like herbs and spices and stuff like that. Because I do like to do that every now and then. I have a favorite restaurant in DC that I normally go to sometime. I'm not going this time, but if I do go there, within 20 minutes, I need to drink water because my throat feels dry. I feel parched, and the whole night I'm drinking water. But once I'm just eating fruits, I'm good.
Makes sense. Yeah. I didn't make that connection before, but it makes sense. You were talking about restaurants. And you're traveling right now. What do you do when you're on the road? You're out with friends, you're going to a restaurant. I'm assuming you just bring fruit with you. How do you navigate that?
A lot of times, when I'm traveling on the road, because I just have my fruit to me, number one. I travel like trains, I have my fruit to me. I only eat once a day. Also, I'm obviously the one day. So I ate last night. I think it was around 7 o'clock last night. I was on the train, so I had my fruit meal. I probably won't eat again till like 7, 8 o'clock this evening. When it comes to socializing, if I'm going to a restaurant and stuff like that, my friends that are socializing me, they'll come to one of my places. They'll come to one of my restaurants because they know how I am. They've known me for years. So they invite me out to eat. Say, let's go to such. I said, let's go to such and such, because I've introduced them to the food. When I have, I've had a couple of birthday parties at my home, and there's alcohol, people drinking, there's alcohol there. But the food, I always get the food catered. I always have like vegan food, raw vegan food, and fruit. So all my friends, even though they're not vegan, they already, say I experienced from them coming to my party, I've introduced them to the food. So if we're going to go out to eat, it's not a problem because they already know what they're going to get.
You mentioned that yesterday you had a fruit dinner. What exactly did you eat, and how much of it?
I had grapes. I had about 3 or 4 pounds of grapes. I think, I had about 3 or 4 pounds. I had like a big bag of grapes, and that's what I ate on the train.
Gotcha. How does it affect your sleep? Are people transforming their sleep? Is that a effectiveness as well?
Yeah, less sleep. I'm good like 5 hours, 5, 6 hours. I'm good. I'm good. I mean, I usually wake up the same time every morning. And the first thing that I do when I wake up, I go to the gym. I go to the gym first thing in the morning. So I wake up, I go and work out and stuff like that. So I usually, my gym in New York, it used to be 24 hours. It's not anymore, but they used to, so I used to go like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the mornings, but now they open at 5 o'clock. So, I used to go to bed like 11 o'clock. I'll get up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 and head to the gym.
And were you always that way, or is that a change after you went to the Fruitarian diet?
I've always kind of been that way ever since, when I train myself to just get up early. When it comes to working out, it's always been a early morning thing, because a lot of times, you got a busy day the whole day. A lot of people go to the gym in the evening, but you have a busy day the whole day doing whatever. And the gym is the last place I want to see after I've been off work.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, I just want to go and, I just want to go home and relax, stuff like that. So I do, I train myself, and it's just a new habit. It's just not a new habit, but a habit I've been doing for many, many years.
Yeah, makes sense. Give us an example of maybe your top one or two case studies of people that you've worked with and the turnaround and the
Uh-huh.
transformations that they've made. I'd love to hear about that.
Okay, so recently, not too long ago, I had this one guy. He went to his doctors, and they told him that, he's probably he's coming towards near end stage kidney disease, and he may have to, get like a kidney or something like that. And I think his number was at 15. And like, it's funny enough, he went to a friend's house who knows me, because I don't know the guy. So a friend of his, oh, the guy told him about me, and blah, blah, blah. And he said, man, I'm so defeated because, my number's at 15 after telling his friend. So my friend called me, and I said, give the guy my number. So he called me, and I told him about the Fruit Beast channel. I said, listen, I have a channel going on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. It's only $20 to join. And and this is what you got to do. And he was so determined to do it. And he did it. And then after the channel, I didn't even hear from him. So one day, I said, let me contact him. I didn't hear, and I contacted him. He said, oh, man, sorry, I didn't get back to you, stuff like that. But what happened, my numbers went up from 15 to 44 within 30 days. His numbers went way up, no longer in that stage of kidney disease. I had another lady, she had breast cancer. And she did a challenge January. So she was diagnosed in, I think it was October of last year. And by December, the lump got bigger. So she decided to join my challenge. She just ate fruits. By the time, I posted on Instagram, actually, I think yesterday I posted it. And by day 28, the lump had disappeared. I got pictures on my Instagram with the progression of what happens. So that's how fruits are powerful. I tell people fruits are one of the most powerful foods on the planet, but people just don't know about it. And I'm just here to try to tell people fruit is not going to harm you. It doesn't harm you. Something that's going to heal you cannot harm you. They cannot do two things. It's either one or the other. And that's what I do. So those are the two main ones. I've had so many. I had a lady, she had candida. That was gone. A guy, herpes, that was gone. I had a lady, she had a suspected cancer mole on her shoulder. She didn't know when it was cancer, but she's going to get it checked out. That fell off. I had a lady last year, she had a cyst on her finger, and she was going to get, she had it for 3 years, and she was going to get it surgically removed. After day 9, lump had gone. It had to return. And she's not a fruitarian. She's raw vegan and vegan, didn't return. So these are the things that are happening,
That's so interesting. That's so interesting that even as a raw vegan, she still was dealing with some health issues and
right.
And all fruit. Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, raw vegan is great. It's alkaline. Raw vegan is great. It's alkaline. It can maintain your body. It's not going to cause any mineral loss within your body. But if you already have some dirt in the body, you have to move it out. You know what I mean? So detoxing is moving out. So yeah, people change their diet, but they still haven't detoxed. They may feel better, but it's like sweeping the dirt under the carpet. You change your diet, but the dirt is still there. Try and get rid of it. So once you get rid of it, you can go back to your raw vegan diet, and then because you got rid of all that stuff. And that's right. Regarding people eating different type of diets, I always tell them, even if you're from a meat diet or, raw vegan diet, after the challenge is over, please modify your diet to a more healthier diet. If you eat a lot of meat, cut back on it. Add more fruits to your diet. That's what you do. I give people information on how to do that.
I think one of the biggest misnomers is that people think that if they went to an all fruit diet, that they would somehow be deficient in minerals or proteins or whatever.
Yeah.
Walk us through why that's not the case.
Well, that's not the case because number one, fruits have everything that you need. I mean, it has vitamins, minerals, it has thousands of micronutrients that science don't even have names for. They can't even name them. That's so many they are. If you notice all the animals in nature, if they're carnivore or if they're plant eaters, they eat very limited. They may eat 1 or 2 items in a whole lifetime. That's all they eat. People ask me, where do you get your protein from? I say a cow in its natural habitat will only eat grass the whole time. If it's in the natural habitat, nothing else but grass. but now you're eating the cow for protein, you're eating for iron. Everything is amino acids. Amino acids are only found in plants. Now, if you're eating the animal, which we call, that's a protein, the flesh is protein. Now the body has to break down the protein into the smallest components, which are amino acids that the body can absorb. That's the only way it can be absorbed. Now, if you cut that middleman out and eat a plant, you're eating amino acids. It's got to be absorbed directly.
That's very interesting. What would you say is your purpose in all this? What's the vision that you have for the world?
As I said, I've just recently found my purpose, and I think it's just here to help people to heal. You know, I just want people to feel better. You know, yeah, that's it. You know, I tell people, for me, it's not about trying to make a buck or two. It's not about that. I just want people to heal. You know, I've been doing this channel for 7 years. For the first 5 years, I did it for free of charge. Everything and the same information. Now it's more intense, but now $20. I charge so little. A lot of people will pay a lot more because I'm a private consultation. People pay a lot more, but for $20, I wanted to give a price where someone, basically everyone can afford, you know, and so you can get the information, you know, to heal. And I think that's what I'm here for, is to help to heal the world, man.
Did you say that? Did I hear you correctly? Just that you said you just found your purpose recently?
Well, when I say about recently, it's like when I started to do the fruit challenges.
Okay.
That's when I get, like, say 7 years. That's what I say. Well, that's when I started to do the fruit challenges. And then all these people are healing, because before I was working out and exercising, and, you know, I didn't have no health issues to reverse. I couldn't say, oh, I reversed this from my fruit diet. But the people who were on it, this is what they were telling me from day one. You know, after the challenge is over, I'll get all these messages. So I documented all these, testimonies, which can be found on my website as well. So
it really is profound. If anybody that's listening to this, if you just stop and think for a second, you're 30 days away, or 30 days or less away from radical health transformation. I mean, that's really what you're offering here, because this isn't just, oh, I want to lose a few pounds, or I'm feeling a little sluggish. I mean, it is those things too, but I mean, you're talking about, you know, late stage cancers and other diseases that are eradicated in less than 30 days. I mean, it really is profound, at least in our Western conditioned world.
Right.
It's, you know, that's a whole nother rabbit hole, but it really is a profound shift. And what a beautiful thing you're doing. For those that are interested in joining this, you said you do it every other month, correct?
Yeah. And the next one is November the 1st, and then January the 1st. It's every other month. Yeah.
Okay. And where can they go if they're interested in signing up for that?
They can go to my website, which is Orvel, ORVELDOUGLAS.com, OrvelDouglas.com. That's my website. I have a video on the homepage, so I asked everyone to listen to that video first to get an understanding of exactly what the challenge is about, and also how to join the challenge. Also, they can reach me on Facebook under my name, Orvel Douglas, or my other Facebook page, which is Orvel Douglas Fruitarian Lifestyle, or Instagram, which is Black_Fruitarian 1964. Those are the places you can reach me.
I appreciate how you used an American accent when you spelled out your name so that we can understand how to spell it.
Yes. Yes.
Well, brother, this was fascinating content. I'm actually very interested. I think I might join you for this November one. I got to look at my calendar. Honestly, one of the biggest challenges I have when I do these kind of things is the social aspect, because I really do love food, and I love meeting people and eating and coming together and eating and the social aspect. And I'm trying to recalibrate my mind to, my brother's he's a health nut. And I asked him one time, I'm like, how do you emotionally connect to food? And he just kind of shrugged his shoulders, and he's like, it's fuel. It's just fuel.
Yeah, fuel.
And I haven't made that switch yet. Cause to me, often it's, it's connection, and it's the taste, it's the experience of this, incredible dish. Do you have any words of wisdom on that, by the way?
Just trying to live, health is wealth. Health is wealth. Get yourself, if you're suffering from disease or whatever, do something about it now. Do it for your kids. Do it for your grandkids. If you do that, you'll be here much longer. You don't want to go before your time. You know, that's all it is. It's all about family. It's all about friends. It's all about feeling well. It's all about enjoying life. That's what it's about, because once you got your health, you have everything.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate it, Orvel. What a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Listening to this episode of Wired for Impact. If you're interested in creating and expanding your impact, be sure to visit us online at impactnow.com.